Hey, what is up, mortals? It is JSatwekar here, and welcome to part 9 of What If Aizawa Was in Class 1A. Just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. And so we begin. Izuku Midoriya left the field to go to the locker rooms. He told Aizawa that he needed to strategize about his match with Todoroki. Aizawa knew there was something wrong with his friend. Aizawa figured it was that Midoriya did not think that he could win in a fight against Todoroki. It was a rational concern. Todoroki was one of the most powerful members of the class. His quirk alone would make him a serious threat. But the way the bicolored teen used his powers was over the top. This was enough to make anyone concerned. As Aizawa watched his friend leave the field, he knew that something else was at play. He could follow the green-haired teen, but Aizawa did not think this was the most rational approach. Midoriya would not need a logical dissection of the facts. Midoriya needed his spirits raised. Aizawa knew that there was only one person for the job. The dark-haired teen walked over to Uraraka and placed his hand on her shoulder. The brunette turned around. "What is it, Aizawa?"
"Uraraka, I need you to go and check on Midoriya for me. You will find him in the locker rooms."
The girl's usually pink cheeks turned bright red at this suggestion. "Why me? I mean, wouldn't it be better if you did that? I mean, we barely know each other, and you've known him for years." The brunette waved her arms in the most bizarre gestures as she talked, and her forehead was working up quite a sweat, too. Aizawa wanted to slap his forehead in frustration. How could Midoriya and Uraraka be so blind to their feelings for each other?
"The amount of time you and Midoriya have known each other is irrelevant. I know you noticed how Midoriya left the field. I'm not sure just what is going on with him, but he needs encouragement. You are better suited to that task than me."
Aizawa turned to walk away, but gave a last firm look at Uraraka. The girl knew that Aizawa meant business. Midnight announced that there would be a short intermission before the finals started. There would be games for all of the students to participate in. The students could compete, or they could rest for the next rounds. Uraraka left the field and went to find Midoriya. As the brunette walked toward the locker rooms, she found Midoriya and Todoroki talking in the hallway. The two boys did not see her, but she could hear them. Todoroki was asking Midoriya if he was All Might's secret love child. Hearing this question from Todoroki almost made the brunette gasp with shock. Fortunately, she managed to contain her emotions. Uraraka continued to listen to the conversation. The revelations about Todoroki's awful childhood and harsh family life at the hands of his father, the flame hero Endeavor, almost made Uraraka tear up. The conversation between the boys ended when Todoroki said that Midoriya's connection to All Might meant that it was even more important that he win the first match. The frosty boy would show his father that he can win using just his mother's quirk. Midoriya and Todoroki went their separate ways. As Midoriya turned to go to the locker room, he almost ran into Uraraka. "Uraraka, what are you doing here?" The brunette did not know what to say. It was hard to answer after hearing Todoroki's backstory. "Aizawa asked me to check on you," the girl finally answered. "And I was concerned by the way that you left the field." Midoriya did not know how to process these words. Uraraka was worried about him? Aizawa, he understood, but seeing a girl other than his mother being concerned about him was such an alien concept that he could not process it. Finally, Midoriya responded, "Thank you, Uraraka. You don't have to worry about me. Deku, I know you're worried about your match with Todoroki. He is an incredible student, and he will be a great hero one day. But don't forget that you're amazing too. If there's anyone who can overcome long odds, it's you, Deku." Midoriya smiled at Uraraka's words. He was panicking and sad after hearing Todoroki's story. But after hearing those 4 short sentences from Uraraka, he felt like he could accomplish anything. He wondered to himself if Uraraka, like Todoroki, had a second quirk that boosted confidence. "You're right, Uraraka. If I'm going to be a hero that makes people smile, then I must keep going. I will make it to the top." Seeing the change in his demeanor put a smile on the brunette's face. With his mood boosted, Midoriya and Uraraka walked back toward the field to rejoin their classmates. On the way to the field, the two teens crossed paths with the flame hero Endeavor. The burning gaze in the hero's eyes was almost as overbearing as the flames coming off of his body.
"Oh, there you are. I was looking for you."
The burning man pointed at Midoriya.
"I wanted to tell you that your showing in this festival has been impressive. The speed and strength you showed in the first 2 rounds reminds me of All Might."
Midoriya freaked out for a moment. The teen wondered if Endeavor had figured out about One for All. Uraraka thought it was strange that the number 2 hero would seek out Midoriya.
"Your match against my son will be a good proving ground for him. Give it your best. I have plans for that boy."
The flaming man said those words with a sinister air that made Midoriya's skin crawl. "Endeavor, you're wrong. I am not All Might, and your son is not you." The flame hero was puzzled by this statement. Midoriya turned to return to the field without another word. Uraraka followed Midoriya. The girl could not help thinking how cool Midoriya looked, standing up to an imposing character like Endeavor. Uraraka then blushed slightly at the fact that she was having such thoughts about Midoriya. The intermission ended, and it was time for the matches to begin.
"This is what we've all been waiting for! The first match will see Izuku Midoriya from Class 1A against Todoroki from Class 1A. It is Ice versus Brute Force. Let's get this party started!"
As Present Mike made his over-the-top introduction, Midoriya and Todoroki entered the arena to bursts of fire and the screams of the crowd. As the 2 boys stared each other down, Midnight explained that the battle would end when a competitor was knocked out of bounds, gave up, was rendered immobile, or was judged to be incapable of continuing by her. Cementos would be watching the battles also and would intervene if the fight got out of hand. With those final instructions, Midnight snapped her whip and told the boys to begin. Todoroki unleashed a power blast of ice to start the match. Midoriya knew he could not let the ice touch him. He knew that there was only one move he could use. He raised his hand and flicked his fingers toward the oncoming ice. A powerful burst of air contacted the ice and broke it into pieces.
"You used that ability in the second round. What is that?"
"I call it Air Force." All Might had taught Midoriya the secret to most of his super moves. The force of One for All was so great that Midoriya could weaponize air pressure. The blonde hero had revealed this fact to Midoriya after the green-haired boy had mastered using One for All at 15%. Midoriya had mastered using 20% of One for All. But to counter Todoroki's ice blasts, he had to push his output to his upper limit of 35%. But the green-haired boy knew that the mental focus and physical endurance needed to pull off this would quickly drain his stamina. Midoriya knew that at his current level, he would only be able to pull off a max-power Air Force 5 more times. He needed to close the distance between himself and Todoroki. Midoriya used full cowling to increase his speed. He ran forward, dodging Todoroki's ice blasts. But every time Midoriya would get close, the ice user would slide away on an ice sheet. The match turned into a game of cat and mouse. As the match went on, Midoriya noticed that Todoroki's attacks got slower and less powerful. He could also see that the bicolored teen's body had a noticeable layer of frost on it.
"That is interesting."
"What is it, Aizawa?"
"It would seem that our unbeatable ice wielder does have a weakness."
"What do you mean?"
"Red Eye means that Icy Hot's moves are slower and less powerful than they were at the beginning of the match."
Aizawa did not like Bakugo's nickname for him, but his statement was true.
"Look at Todoroki's right side."
"It's covered in frost. Is that what you mean?"
"Yes. As he creates his ice, it must cool off his body. He could offset this by using his left side, but has not done that yet. If Todoroki continues this way, then he will pass out from the cold. It already looks like he's shivering from here."
Meanwhile, on the field, Midoriya had made a similar deduction. This led him to confront Todoroki about why he was not using his left side. Midoriya's eyes lit up with a fury that he had never had. "Quit screwing around, Todoroki. You've not even laid a scratch on me, Todoroki. Everyone here is giving their all to win. If you're not willing to go all out, then why are you even here?"
"I told you before, Midoriya. I'll not give my father the satisfaction of seeing me use my fire. I will win using only my mother's quirk."
"It's your quirk, not his!" Those 6 words hit Todoroki like a wrecking ball. The teen's left side burst into flame. The frost that accumulated on his body evaporated from the heat.
You're crazy, you know that? Helping your opponent in the middle of a match? You want my fire? Then here it comes.
Todoroki released giant pillars of ice towards Midoriya. The green-haired boy used his full cowling at 30%, the highest percentage he could use safely, to deliver powerful punches that broke the ice pillars. These blows sent freezing air surging out into the stadium. Todoroki then charged up the fire on his left side until his left hand glowed with a burning light. Midoriya saw this and knew that Todoroki was going all out like he asked. Midoriya knew that he could not hold back either, so the green-haired boy threw caution to the wind. He forced the full power of One for All into his right arm. Green lightning sparked off his body in response to this power boost. Both teams got ready for their final strikes in this epic contest.
Midnight, we need to stop this. These two are going all out. They could seriously hurt themselves.
Cementoss used his quirk to put up several barriers of cement to separate the two students. Unfortunately, the force of the two boys caused these barriers to shatter on impact. A huge explosion resulted, sending a huge wave of pressure ripping through the stands of the stadium. A huge blanket of dust and fog covered the stadium. What happened?
The air was superheated after being supercooled. This caused the air to rapidly expand.
The stadium was completely silent. Everyone wanted to know one thing: who had won? The fog finally cleared. The scene showed Midoriya standing in the middle of the ring with his arm outstretched. This arm was covered in bruises up to his shoulder. In front of him were 3 layers of ice walls. Each ice wall had a huge hole in the middle. Todoroki was still standing also, but his left foot had crossed the ring's boundary line. What a show! But it looks like Shoto Todoroki is out of bounds. The winner of the first match is Izuku Midoriya! The crowd broke into a riot of cheering.
Having a powerful quirk does not mean that you will be a great hero, but these two are amazing.
Both boys were taken to Recovery Girl for first aid.
That was annoying, Midoriya. You expect me to follow a match like that? I'm going to give you a piece of my mind when this is over.
As it turned out, Todoroki's injuries were very minor. Recovery Girl healed him and allowed him to leave. While Midoriya's injuries looked worse, it turned out they were just superficial wounds. The elderly woman marveled at how much Midoriya's body had changed since he enrolled at UA. A group of 1A students decided to check on Midoriya. This group included Ida, Uraraka, and Asui. When this group asked Aizawa to come with them, he refused. The dark-haired boy said that Midoriya would be fine and he needed to focus on his match. But he did tell them to tell Midoriya not to be so reckless. The 3 friends were told by Recovery Girl that Midoriya would be fine, but he needed to rest. The old lady then kindly told the 3 to go away. The 3 friends then told Midoriya to feel better. As they left the room, All Might, in his skinny form, entered the room in a blue suit. Oh, All Might, sir, have you come to see Deku?
I told you, young Uraraka, when I'm in this form, call me Mr. Yagi.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry.
But to answer your first question, yes, I came in to check on him. If you'll excuse me.
All Might entered the room to talk to Midoriya. The blonde hero closed the door behind him.
You did well, young Midoriya. I am proud of you. But I must ask, why did you go out of your way to help Todoroki? You could have won the match quicker if you refrained from getting the boy to use his fire.
I know I could have, but it wouldn't have been right. Looking at Todoroki, I could only see someone in need of help. I know I should have focused on the match, but I couldn't help it. I can't turn my back on someone who needs help.
It is true that you took a big risk in helping young Todoroki. Never forget, young Midoriya, that interfering where you don't have to is the essence of being a hero.
All Might left the room to let Midoriya rest up for his next match. As Midoriya closed his eyes to rest, he heard a voice in the back of his mind.
It is almost time.
Back in the arena, the matches continued. It seemed to many that the final round was just a showcase for Class 1A. Aizawa managed to defeat Sero in record time. Sero looked quite ridiculous, being hogtied in Aizawa's capture scarf. Aizawa was able to use this item in the festival events because he had filled out the proper paperwork. Ida won his match after Mei Hatsumi turned him into a running advertisement for her support items. The blue-haired boy could not believe that he had been tricked like that. Ojiro defeated Kaminari after the latter shorted his brain out. The goofy expression on Kaminari's face when he lost left Jiro rolling on the floor in laughter. Ashido finished Aoyama with a little fanfare. Even Class 1A was surprised that Ashido won by using brute strength and not by using her quirk. Although she did manage to leave Aoyama pantsless. Tokoyami finished the battle with Yayorozu before the girl could even attack once. This left the dark-haired girl feeling down. She began to wonder if she was just a fake hero. Before Yayorozu could get too deep into despair, Aizawa set the girl straight. Aizawa explained that Yayorozu lost because she thought too much. If Yayorozu wanted to get better as a hero, she needed to work on making quick decisions. Villains were not going to give her time to make an extensive plan to defeat them. Yayorozu perked up at the words of her classmate. She thanked him for his helpful advice. Kirishima's match was decided by an arm wrestling match that the spiky redhead won. Finally, Bakugo defeated Uraraka. The round-faced girl gave it her all, but she could not match Bakugo's raw power. A 15-minute break was called by the referees to repair the ring for the next rounds of battles. Aizawa decided that he would go to the locker room to prepare himself mentally for his next match. It had been a while since Aizawa and Midoriya had faced off. Midoriya had changed a lot, but so had Aizawa. He planned to show his green-haired friend just how much in this battle. As Aizawa made his way to the locker room, he was met by a tall man in a white business suit.
Sir, I did not know you would be here.
It may be proper manners to announce your arrival, but I did not want my presence to disrupt the festival's final battles. Unlike Endeavor, some pro heroes know how to keep their cool.
You have a point, sir, but I have a feeling that is not the only reason you are here.
That is true. What do you think is my second reason for being here, Aizawa? Aizawa had been introduced to Sir Night-Eye by All Might. The #1 hero figured that Night-Eye would be a better trainer for Aizawa than anyone at UA. Aizawa did not disagree with All Might. Night-Eye did have a quirk that functioned, at least on a basic level, like his. The well-groomed hero had been very helpful in Aizawa's training.
You must be here to analyze Izuku Midoriya. After all, you are one of the few people that knows about the connection between All Might and Midoriya. You wanted to see if he was a worthy successor to All Might.
A most rational analysis as usual, Aizawa. Yes, I am here to see the successor of One for All. I did not agree with All Might's decision at first, but I wish to see the successor with my own eyes.
So, what do you think of him so far?
I have yet to make a judgment. You are not wrong about him, Aizawa. He is a lot like All Might in some ways, but he is vastly different in other ways. Whether that is good or bad is yet to be seen. With those final words, Sir Night-Eye walked off toward the stadium, leaving Aizawa alone. The long-haired boy continued on his way to the locker room. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in this story thus far. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. First, we've got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. On top of that, we have a third channel called We the Celestials Naruto What Ifs. It's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. Go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 and older to join our crew. You can find us on our Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. All you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up for whichever category of work fulfills your interests. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.